Southern New England's trusted news source, ABC6 News at Noon.
We start today with developing news. Students left without a ride to school today as RIPTA deals with issues getting buses on the roads. ABC6 News reporter Yanni Trigelis is live in the newsroom with the latest. Yanni?
Doreen, 5 RIPTA buses not in service today as the transportation service says it's been dealing with severe staffing shortages. Because of this, many students in the city left without a ride to school this morning. Now, the 5 schools that run along the RIPTA bus lines to serve today include Alvarez, Central, Classical, Hope, and Mount Pleasant high schools. Students at those schools forced to find another way to get to class today. And RIPTA again says they are facing critical staffing shortages, making it difficult to keep up with daily services. We caught up with one RIPTA bus driver today who told us they have been overworked and left exhausted due to these issues.
We've been pulling doubles, triples, some of us guys working 12 to 14 hours a day. We're trying to get people home, and they're taking it on us. It's not us.
And RIPTA has advised passengers that usually rely on buses to get to class to allow themselves extra time today. And there is no word at this time yet when these buses will be back in service again. We did reach out to some local high schools, and a representative from Hope High School did tell us that many of their students were affected by these delays this morning. Be sure to stick with us as we continue to follow this story coming up tonight on ABC6 News. In the newsroom, Yanni Trigelis, ABC6 News.
Yanni, thank you. Several people arrested in Boston this morning as a group of climate activists blocked several major traffic routes in the city right during the morning commute. It was all a part of trying to raise attention for what they call a climate emergency and to pressure Massachusetts lawmakers to ban new fossil fuel infrastructure. Most of them left around 8 this morning when police threatened more arrests. And new at noon today, the Department of Health confirming just a short time ago that one of the bodies found in Woonsocket on Monday is in fact former Mayor Susan Menard. The identity of the male body is still being finalized. The 2 bodies found badly decomposed inside this Marion Lane home. Police haven't released a cause of death, but they are saying it is not suspicious. And now to the weather as we take a live look outside with our sky cam. Chelsea is standing by with more on our forecast. This is our last full day of summer, Chelsea.
I know, and those clouds are being super stubborn as we head into the early afternoon hours. A lot of clouds in place here in Providence. Temperatures in the mid-60s range at the moment, with dew points in the mid-60s and a very, very light breeze coming in out of the north, only 3 miles per hour. Most of us are in the mid-60s range right now. I am expecting some sun to pop through as we head through the afternoon hours before the sun sets. You can see we're stuck with a lot of clouds across most of southern New England, but there is more sunshine off to our immediate west, and we'll tap into that as we head through the later part of the day. You can also see some rain, some heavy rain up towards the Great Lakes, and this is going to be a cold front that we'll be tracking as we head into tomorrow. Today, though, for our final full day of summer, we are looking at dry conditions and eventually seasonable temperatures making it into the low to mid 70s as we head into this afternoon. Now, as I mentioned, there's a cold front approaching the area that's going to bring rain to us tomorrow. I do also want to update you on Hurricane Fiona, the 11 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center. Still 675 miles southwest of Bermuda now, but making a track that way, moving north at 8 miles per hour. A Category 4 hurricane right now. I'll have the updated track for you and what to expect from this storm here in southern New England in just a few minutes. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, thank you. And we have more on Hurricane Fiona as it did strengthen into that Category 4 storm, leaving a trail of destruction in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans are still without essentials like power and water as the storm continues to move north. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the latest.
Hurricane Fiona strengthening into a powerful Category 4 storm, now marching north toward Bermuda, packing winds of 130 miles an hour and leaving a trail of destruction battering the Turks and Caicos Islands, rolling through the Dominican Republic and causing what Puerto Rico's governor described as catastrophic damage. FEMA saying it's sending hundreds of additional aid workers to the U.S. territory, including 2 search and rescue teams.
We pre-deployed many FEMA resources well in advance of the storm last week to ensure that we could continue to coordinate with our partners on the ground to ensure a seamless response and recovery process.
And overnight, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services declaring a public health emergency on Puerto Rico. The hurricane killing at least 4 people on that island. Fiona's damage surveyed from Coast Guard rescue helicopters. Entire neighborhoods are still underwater, homes uninhabitable. Crews continue rushing to restore power after more than 1 million Puerto Ricans were left in the dark by the storm. Hundreds of thousands are also without clean drinking water as the island braces for high temperatures today. Puerto Rican officials saying yesterday they're confident most people will see power restored soon. Officials say they're also tracking several other systems churning in the Atlantic right now, one of which is Tropical Storm Gaston, which isn't expected to hit any landmass. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
And Central Falls Mayor Maria Rivera is among the local people pitching in to help Puerto Rico after the devastation from Hurricane Fiona. She plans to head there along with local nonprofit The Elijah Project next week. They are collecting donations through the charity's Facebook page if you'd like to help. We're going to hear from her on ABC6 News first at 4. And now checking some of today's other headlines, a shocking headline from back in February in Pawtucket. A young child pronounced dead, found to have fentanyl in his system. Now his mother and 2 others are back in court. 2 of the 3 people charged in the death of the 2-year-old child from fentanyl exposure appeared before a judge today, pleading not guilty. In December, Pawtucket police responded to a home on Sales Avenue for an unresponsive 2-year-old. That 2-year-old pronounced dead at the hospital, and an 8-year-old boy also was exposed to fentanyl but survived. Jesseline Andrade, the mother, pled not guilty to her charges of second-degree murder and cruelty or neglect of a child. Stefano Castro, charged with 1 count of murder, also pleading not guilty. Now Andrade was released on bail. Castro is being held without bail. Both of them are set to appear in court again November 21st. Police arrest a Providence Public Works employee for allegedly selling drugs while on the job. Christopher Anderson was arrested last week after Providence police found he had more than 1,000 bags of fentanyl. Police say he was selling the drugs while working as a city employee. Anderson is currently on administrative leave with pay. A former director of finance from the Urban Collaborative Accelerated Program, better known as UCAP, is out on $15,000 bail after being arrested by the Rhode Island State Police. Nathan Kaufman worked for the Providence-based school program from 2011 until June of this year. State police allege that evidence shows $3 million was transferred from UCAP funds to a private account. During that time, Kaufman had access to all UCAP accounts, and police allege he transferred the money for personal use. Still to come here on ABC6 News at noon, how President Biden is expected to respond to escalating threats from Russia as he speaks before the United Nations today. And later, why Walmart and Target are pushing back against major credit card companies looking to lower fees for customers. Now to the crisis in Ukraine, and President Biden addressing world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly in New York a short time ago. The president delivering a harsh and direct message to President Putin, urging the UN to unite as Putin ramps up the war in Ukraine, calling up reservists in Russia and moving to annex large portions of Ukraine. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
President Biden mincing no words at the UN General Assembly this morning.
Russia has shamelessly violated the core tenets of the United Nations Charter.
His speech before world leaders condemning Russian President Putin's war against Ukraine.
Just today, President Putin has made overt nuclear threats against Europe and a reckless disregard for the responsibilities of the non-proliferation regime.
It comes just hours after Putin addressed his country, ordering a partial mobilization as he tries to ramp up the size of his military, threatening the use of nuclear weapons, saying Moscow will respond with all the means at our disposal if Russia's territorial integrity is threatened. He moved to officially declare large areas of eastern and southern Ukraine part of Russia.
It's definitely a sign that he's struggling, and we know that. He has suffered tens of thousands of casualties. He feels like he's on his back foot, particularly in that northeast area of the Donbass.
He's also planning to stage referendum votes starting Friday, the U.S. slamming them as a sham.
These are not the actions of a confident country. These are not acts of strength. Quite the opposite.
This all comes as Putin suffers heavy battlefield losses, Ukrainian troops marching into this newly liberated village in the eastern Donbass region. President Zelensky dismissing Putin's moves as noise and thanking allies for their support. While the president mainly focused on the war in his speech today, he also addressed the climate crisis and announced funding to fight world hunger. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And still to come on ABC6 News at noon, just how many in southern New England will benefit from the student loan relief program? We'll take a look at the numbers. And the FDA taking some blame in the investigation into the baby formula shortage. Back now with your consumer news. Nearly 1 million borrowers in southern New England will be eligible for President Biden's student debt relief plan. The Department of Education has released a state-by-state breakdown of the numbers. And under the president's plan, borrowers would be eligible for $10,000 of debt cancellation, $20,000 for Pell Grants. Tens of millions of people are eligible in all 50 states. The Food and Drug Administration is admitting that it mishandled the baby formula crisis earlier this year. The agency released an internal review report acknowledging a number of shortcomings in dealing with the formula shortage. The review found delays, lack of procedures, and limits on FDA's authority. The report says the agency needs more staff, training, and equipment to handle such emergencies going forward. And Walmart and Target among a group of retailers pushing to lower extra credit card fees. The fees usually run between 1% and 3% of a transaction's final price, which last year alone added up to about $138 billion, according to one report. Credit card companies are pushing back, though, saying the fees cover things like rewards programs, banking services, and protecting merchants.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Well, once again, looking out over Providence, and the clouds are being quite stubborn right now for your early afternoon hours. That being said, I do anticipate some sun trying to pop through. Every now and again, you get some blue sky, and that'll be the case through the afternoon. With the clouds in place, our temps right now are sitting mainly in the mid-60s range, so it's a little bit cooler than average. But with those few pops of sun, we end up closer to our seasonal average high of 73 degrees as we head through the afternoon. We were there Monday and Tuesday. Today we'll hover around there. And tomorrow we'll hover around there, but there'll be big changes heading our way for the end of the work week as we have our first full day of fall on Friday. Our high temperatures will be closer to the average low, topping out really only in the upper 50s for most of us. Outside right now, a very light breeze. It's calm in many spots, only 3 miles per hour here in Providence, 3 in Smithfield. That wind direction keeping us in the low 70s for today. Tomorrow we continue to see low 70s, and then as I mentioned on Friday, we dip down to the upper 50s and low 60s for high temperatures for the day. Saturday looks cool. We get back into the low 70s range for Sunday and the start of next week, which are seasonable temperatures for this time of year as we head through the later part of September. Loop over the past 6 hours shows you that we had a little mist and drizzle early this morning. At this point, a lot of clouds in place, but you can see some clear sky just off to our west, and we'll be tracking that as we head through the afternoon. Now, there's an approaching cold front that's going to impact us tomorrow with heavy rain and thunderstorm activity. We'll have to watch for some ponding on the roadways after we get some of those downpours. But what that cold front is going to do, it's going to steer Fiona farther away from the Atlantic seaboard. So it's a welcome cold front, keeping that storm away from the Atlantic seaboard. What Fiona's doing right now is starting to move north. That's been happening over the course of the morning, gradually going to take a northeast shift and pass close to Bermuda as a major Category 4 hurricane. Late Thursday into Friday, there are tropical storm warnings for Bermuda right now, hurricane watches. From there, Fiona continues to lift towards the north, again staying pretty far away from us, but it is such a large storm that we will feel some impact here in southern New England. There's been a high surf advisory issued for the area beginning late tomorrow night, or late tomorrow afternoon rather, continuing through Friday evening. I wouldn't be surprised if this extends perhaps into Saturday with some rough surf. Dangerous rip currents, so anybody getting in the water to maybe surf, it could be dangerous out there. There may also be some beach erosion outside with that rough surf as we head through the later part of the week. Things are very active in the tropics right now. There's Tropical Storm Gaston. It's out towards the Azores, so closer to Europe than the United States. And the tropical outlook shows you 3 more spots that the National Hurricane Center is watching. This one of concern here with a high chance of development in the next 24 to 48 hours. Here in southern New England, dry for the afternoon. As we head through the evening hours, clouds increase. Tomorrow, you wake up to some spotty showers. Into the later part of the morning, some heavier rain possible as that cold front approaches the area. There may be some heavy rain falling for your evening drive home. From there, fall begins at 9 o'clock on Thursday, and the cold front comes through, and it's like a switch. We see clearing conditions, winds picking up out of the north, and sunshine by Friday afternoon, but some really chilly temperatures in place. Again, that cold front keeping Fiona out to sea. 7 days shows rain and storms tomorrow. Again, fall beginning tomorrow evening. Friday looks chilly and windy with highs only in the upper 50s. Pretty chilly on Saturday morning. From there, a bit better for Sunday and early next week. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, thank you. Still to come here on the news at noon, the lovable comedy Abbott Elementary returns, but with some changes for season 2. We'll check in with the cast when we return. In entertainment news, the fall brings new shows to your TV, and the cast and crew of Abbott Elementary are on the move. They've gathered their pencils, chalk, paper, and notebooks and are moving from Tuesday nights to Wednesday nights on ABC. George Pinocchio has a preview of season 2.
Oh, we're so happy to be back at it and back with each other and just back making this show that we really love.
Now it is time to get this party started.
School is back in session for the cast of the Emmy-winning comedy Abbott Elementary, and there's no place these teachers would rather be.
This thing that we do, I look forward to doing, and not just because they bring me breakfast, but that's a big reason. But it's doing the actual work on a set with people that I adore, surrounded by this great group of talent, the writers too, and all of our crew. That's what I can't wait to do. So it doesn't feel like going to work. It feels like going to have fun.
Well, I guess somebody's got it together this year.
Creator Quinta Brunson, who just won the Emmy for comedy writing, says she didn't set out to become a spokesperson for the teaching profession. She just knew this field was rich with relatable stories.
I knew there was humor in it, heart in it, love in it, but reality in it. And I'm so happy that even though we didn't set out to be representation for teachers, that we are doing such a caring and good job that teachers get to feel represented, if that makes sense. I'm happy we're doing our job well enough for them to appreciate what we're doing.
Barbara, I miss you so much. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna give you a hug. Let me put these boxes in.
It has been wonderful to hear teachers talk about how much they feel seen, how much they feel respected, how much they feel uplifted.
Cheryl Lee Ralph also won the Emmy for her role in Abbott Elementary. She's passionate about offering the best education we can for our children.
We can do better, we will do better, and I'm happy that there's Abbott Elementary to show people that yes, there is a way forward together.
Ralph is looking forward to something she'd especially like to see on the show this season.
Oh, holy night. We have to have a Christmas recital.
In Los Angeles, George Pinocchio for ABC News.
Wow, still to come here on the news at noon. Team No Sleep for Jimmy Kimmel as the host signs a deal for several more years here at ABC. Plus, Chelsea has another look at your afternoon forecast right after this. Good news, Kimmel fans. The late night host is sticking around. Jimmy Kimmel signed a deal for 3 more years here at ABC. His show debuted in January of 2003. This deal will keep him on the air until the 2025-26 season. Always with a joke, Kimmel says, after 2 decades at ABC, I'm looking forward to 3 years of what they call quiet quitting. Something to be on the lookout for with Kimmel, though. He's taking his show on the road to Brooklyn for a week this month. Fun. He's not quiet quitting.
No.
He's putting in all the effort.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, well, so many hosts, though, have been leaving. James
Sure.
Corden left late night, so he's sticking around.
All right.
We got him.
Sticking with it. We are looking at some brighter conditions into the afternoon, but it'll be short-lived. We have clouds increasing overnight. There's an approaching cold front that's going to bring some steady rain and isolated thunderstorms tomorrow through the middle portion of the day up until the evening. That's a cold front coming through, and you'll see behind that cold front, temperatures drop significantly. We'll wake up on Friday in the 40s. Afternoon highs may not even make it to 60 degrees. Plus, it's going to be windy, which makes us feel even cooler. Saturday stays breezy and chilly, but then we're back into the low 70s range for Sunday and into the start of next week with a few showers around. But fall begins tomorrow evening, inching closer.
Oh boy, here we go. Yeah. All right, Friday morning. That is going to be a shock to the system.
Yep.
All right, Chelsea, thank you. And thank you for joining us for the news at noon. The news continues first at 4. Have a great day.